No one, and I mean not a single critic, understood this book. Most readers knew Mickey from her reporting or her short stories in The New Yorker or her best-selling, quite scandalous 1944 memoir of living in China. She'd made enemies publishing that book because she talked about her affair with and pregnancy by a married English intelligence officer and her previous relationship with the notorious Chinese poet Playboy, among other issues. The intelligence officer had been in a POW camp. During the war, he'd stayed alive, got a divorce, married Mickey, which made headlines all around the U.S. And then they, with their young daughter, moved to his family's estate in Dorset in the immediate post-war years. So Mickey wrote England to Me as a follow-up to the very scandalous China to Me, and it was a weird book, full of detailed vignettes about getting back to life after the war, and then cultural commentary about post-war England. And not a single critic engaged with what I personally think is the best part of this book, which is how Mickey talks about mothers. The whole book is haunted with different kinds of mothers. Her neighbors trying to figure out their post-war roles, her own attempts to understand who she was as a wife and mother, the Chinese-British friend from Hong Kong who came to live with her baby after the baby's father had been killed in the war, and all these women trying to figure out their relationships with society and their own children. Now, Mickey is not at all touchy-feely, quite the opposite. She's deeply unsentimental, she's allergic to cliché, but she was also a mother who was fascinated by her daughter. In her role as a New Yorker reporter, she wrote about bringing her daughter to a parenting camp at Vassar, about her daughter's adaptation to post-war life in the U.S. after an infancy and toddlerhood in Hong Kong under Japanese occupation. Mickey really let her daughter lead her into interesting topics and places, not in a perfect mother, tried wife, martyr sort of way, but in a really gritty, engaged, observant, fascinated way. Not a single critic that I could find was able to meet her there. Critics were really intoxicated by the idea of this scandalous traveling woman who'd finally settled down. I often wonder about what Mickey might have written if she'd found a market for this kind of writing. She was the family's primary breadwinner, so while she wrote the occasional essay about her daughter for The New Yorker, it was really never a major theme again. I kind of wish it had been.